And we're going to go live on Facebook. We're not live yet. I'm about to press the button to go live.
Is Women Culture, am I right?
Yes.
For the Facebook.
Women of Culture, Inc.
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're still having participants to join, so we'll just a few seconds for people to get settled in. We're trying to start more on time than we did last night. So, but that's okay. We'll go ahead as people are getting settled in. We respect everyone's time. I just want to say welcome to our Caribbean Youth Empowerment Summit. And you know, this is a gathering and a collaboration of awesome professionals, awesome people of faith, of love for our youth, and to bring this presentation to you this evening. Verona, if you will start. You know what? Since you're having issues, I'll go ahead and start. So we're seeing the video, Verona, but we're not hearing it. So I'll go ahead and share. Everyone, just let me know if you can hear. Hearing anything yet?
Not yet.
Okay. It's okay. We're going to start again.
You have a lot of potential as a child, but none of that is capable of manifesting itself as freedom before you become disciplined.
Build confidence. Grow a deep belief. Outwork people. Play the long game. You don't have to be the chosen one. The secret is to build the resolve and spirit to enjoy the plateaus. The times when it doesn't feel like you're improving and you question why you're doing this. If you're patient, the plateaus will become springboards. Finally, never stop striving, reaching for your goals until you get there. But the truth is, even when you get there, even when you get here, standing on this stage, it's the striving, fighting, pushing yourself to the limit every day that you'll miss and you'll long for.
If you want to be a grocer or a general or a politician or a judge, you will invariably become it. That is your punishment. If you never know what you want to be, if you live what some might call the dynamic life, but I will call the artistic life, if each day you are unsure who you are, what you know, you will never become anything, and that is your reward.
When you grow up, you tend to get told that the world is the way it is, and your life is just to live your life inside the world, try not to bash into the walls too much, try to have a nice family life, have fun, save a little money. Life can be much broader once you discover one simple fact, and that is everything around you that you call life was made up by people that were no smarter than you.
How many of us, I wonder, can recall that childhood moment when we experienced happiness as a state of being, that single moment of untarnished joy, that moment when everything in our world, inside and out, was all right. Everything was all right.
Thank you. We always like to start off with a little motivation. And sometimes, thank you, Verona. I know you're having issues with your computer and your Wi-Fi. That's okay. I'm right here to jump in and assist you, right? So if I see that it's spinning, I'm right here. So we want to welcome everyone tonight. We want to welcome you back. This is our second night of our Caribbean Youth Empowerment Summit. What a great way to go back to school. You're going back to school empowered and elevated because you're going to go back different. You're going to go back with a little bit more tips, ideas, a little bit more wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that you had when you when you left school. So you're going back empowered, and that is the goal for us tonight. So we want to show you and remind you that you can unleash greatness within. We all have a greatness, and we just got to tap into it. So I want to, if my moderator is here, Ikula, are you here?
Yes, I am here.
Very, very good. So I want to go ahead and just introduce tonight's moderator before we get started. Ikula Pearce, who is from Jamaica. Ikula is a humble young man, currently as the guidance counselor at a prominent high school in Jamaica. He is currently serving as the first deputy chairman for the National Youth Council of Jamaica. He's the founder of the Ikula Pearce Grant a Wish Foundation. One day we'll have to get the story behind that, Ikula. He's also the counseling coordinator for Vineyard Camp in North Carolina and is currently pursuing postgraduate studies in education and training. So we welcome Ikula Pearce from Jamaica as our moderator for this evening.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so very much, Mrs. Morgan. And I am humbled to be given the opportunity to be moderating this session. Now, I understand that we're operating in the virtual space. So at this point in time, I want to ask, are you hearing me clearly? And are you seeing me well?
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect.
Clear.
Beautiful. I want to especially welcome all the young persons. You know, some of us are young and we're young at heart. So I want to especially welcome you and also acknowledge that you would have given us the space in your homes tonight. And I want to say thank you. And I trust that when we shall leave tonight, we will leave with some bit of content to transform the youth sector and by extension, our country and the world at large. Now, just a matter of housekeeping. We know we're operating in the virtual space. So just in case, you know, we're asking that you keep your mics muted because we want all members on the platform to benefit from the content that will be shared. Tonight, I want to greet you all well, and I trust that my voice finds you well tonight, because tonight is a very serious night, as we will be discussing a very critical topic towards our advancement, and that is life goals. Life goals. We oftentimes take it for granted, but we are going to dissect and assess life goals, particularly focusing on higher education, employment preparation, and business 101. We understand that we are trying to navigate the 21st century. So we want to be armed with the information in order to discharge our duties. And tonight we have two beautiful ladies who will be presenting the topics tonight with added clarity. And mine is the responsibility to introduce our first presenter. But just before I invite our first presenter, who will be Samantha Sheoprashad, I want to ask Miss Samantha, if you have the opportunity to choose between a lock and a key, which one would you choose and why?
Oh, wow. Thank you for the question. Obviously, I will be choosing the key because to me, a key represents opportunity. It represents the opening of new doors as well. And if I was to choose a lock, well, then I will lock myself in. So for me, it's the key.
Beautiful. Thank you so very much. As you rightfully said, the key will open opportunities. And that is what we are here tonight to dissect. Now, family on the call, I want to also welcome those who are tuning in on Facebook. We welcome you to Caribbean Youth Empowerment Summit 2021. Now, family, Samantha Sheoprashad, sorry for that list, is an ecosystem developer at Trifinity Solutions, a local digital marketing agency. She also serves in the capacity as Global Peace Ambassador to Guyana, Queen's Young Leader 2017 winner, CARICOM Youth Ambassador, Commonwealth Youth Representative, and the OECS Sustainable Development Ambassador. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please help me welcome our first presenter, Miss Samantha Sheoprashad.
Thank you very much. You did an excellent job keeping us very lively as well. So tonight I'm going to be talking about life goals, employability, and also looking at life skills as well. So for me and my talk tonight, it's more practical and it's going to give an essence in terms of value and based on my experience, and looking at some of research that was done as well. So when I look at life goals, everyone has goals daily. Whether is it that they are trying to look better, they're trying to feel better, they're trying to gain some weight or lose some weight. Whatever your goal is, it must have a timeline, it must have a name, and you must have some specific target, because you do not want to end up in a loop that is going to have you pretty much recursive. Many times we set goals as individual because we may have some sort of desire, we may have some sort of task or achievement that we want to accomplish. For me, I have had numerous goals daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, and sometimes those goals that span over 10 years. I enjoy the fact that I have goals that challenges me to be a better person. And if your goal does not challenges you, then what are you doing? You have to go back to your why. Many times we have goals as individuals and we're not sure where we want to go. We're not still sure the timeline. Every year we set New Year's resolution, right? And sometimes that gets put over. I mean, it's not a bad thing to have sometimes your goals go over to the next day. But when you have a goal recursive and it's just happening too much, then you have to look at yourself. So one must have things like your financial goals. And us as young people most times are being taught that, you know, money is the root of all evil. And finances does not mean to have a lot of money, but know how to generate wealth and know how to be sustainable about it as well. You want to look at health. Very, very important. Many of us go through school, we go through the education system, and we're not taught to manage ourselves. We're not taught to take care of ourselves when it comes to eating, when it comes to what we put into our mind, what we put into our body. It is really, really important because that whatever you put into your body, whatever you put into your mind, it becomes you, right? So if you know you're eating garbage and you're eating trash every day, well, then that's you, right? We want to look at education as well. These are different type of goals. So when we look at education, we want to look at education in a way that we can build skills that will help us as individuals to chart the way forward into creating a sustainable environment for ourselves. Whether it's helping people, providing a service, obviously we must be paid for that service. Whenever we do that service, utilizing the knowledge and the skills that we would have accumulated. The other thing that we want to look at is our mental health, our mental capacity, our mindset. Because many times we may have great academic skills. We may have academics to the highest order, but our mindset is stuck in a lock. And I want to use this, my friend, is stuck in a lock, and we're not able to use that key to open up our mind. And sometimes we find it very, very difficult to navigate life's challenges. So many times we are growing up taught that, oh, we must get X degrees, we must get, X job. But then we don't apply ourselves. We don't have that skill to manage ourselves. And many times we end up being unhappy, we end up being unfit, we end up being miserable. These are things that really and truly contribute to us being a rounded and wholesome individual. And sometimes we have our challenges. How do you deal with challenges when challenges come your way? Now, one of the most important things that I have learned out of life is that if you can't manage yourself, then you can't manage anything, right? You will have emotional turbulences. One of the most important things about life is knowing oneself. And knowing oneself is pretty much important because if you don't know yourself, then how will you be able to achieve your goals? How you will be able to navigate some of the challenges, those turbulent moments? Because we all come with our default mode, we all come with our differences, we come with our different challenges. So we must know ourselves in order to move forward. Many times we have goals that are not met because we lack those skills to execute those goals. Have you met someone who would talk about something or they preach about something, but they don't really and truly actually do it? Those things happen every single day. And we must hold ourselves accountable. If we are not holding ourselves accountable, then we will be at loss. So many times we as young people are taught to keep on go. When it comes to study, 15 subjects, you're most respected. If you don't have 15 subjects, you're not respected. If you don't have a degree, you're not respected. Sometimes you have the degree and you don't get respect. So these are things that we ought to take note of as individuals. Developing our personal goals must be able to revolve in those areas, right? So the other thing we need to focus on is how do we build community? How do we set up our relationship with others? What are the goals of those relationships when we have those relationships with people? Now, you don't want to be all the time conflicting, right? Obviously, you have family goals. How are you going to spend time with your family? How are you going to spend time with yourself? How are you going to spend time with your friends? What is it that you're going to do with community that is going to bring value to those people? Many times we have relationships with people, and sometimes we don't understand the type of relationship we have with people. We don't set boundaries. We don't know exactly what these people are doing here. They're just here and they're taking up space. So most of the time, I love to establish those boundaries. I love to tell people exactly who I am so that you would not come with any expectations of me. And then in the end, it's like, oh, I'm not a good person or you're not a good person. Most of the times, I love to set my boundaries at the beginning of our conversation. And I love to let people know who I am. So you know where I'm coming from. And when you cross those lines, you know exactly what is going to happen next. So most of the time when we set goals, we have to look at these things because these are important things that govern our daily lives. If you want to generate wealth, you want to generate finances for your life, you may have bills to pay, you may have other goals that you want to meet. How are you going to do that? You obviously have to set up plan for those things. And most of the times we don't set plans. How many of you look at your retirement? How many of you look at ways and means to start a business or to test out or start something new? These are things that are really and truly important and critical for our development as individual. Most of the time, persons look at these areas. I think most of the thing that has been really and truly focused on is financial and education. We ignore our health, we ignore our mental well-being. That is, we ignore sometimes the relationships that we have around us and we forsake them because many times we look at it, oh, we have a degree, we're above people, they don't have anything else, they're below us. It must not be like that. As an individual, as a young person, I think one of the most important things for you to do is to respect yourself. That must be the first priority of your goal. And in setting goals, you want to know that you as an individual is able to benefit from the value that you bring to your own table and to your own self whenever you are choosing you as the individual. Because most of the time, we may set goals, we may have some of these things that are going to help us to get to the next level. But how do we get there? What are the type of things that we need to do? For me, when I was going to university, I had challenges getting into university. I had challenges staying in university because I wasn't able to afford a university education. What I did, I used the knowledge that I've gained at that time, and I execute a few projects that will help me to stay in university. So sometimes you have to utilize the knowledge to get to the next level. You have to develop skills. You may not have those skills, but there is YouTube, there is LinkedIn, there is Coursera, there's so many more outlets on the internet. You cannot complain that, oh, my teacher is not here to teach me this. You can go to those channels, different channels, and you can look at a tutorial and you can learn some new skill that you want to develop to execute for you and for the people around you. Most of the time, I understand that we have challenges with internet, but that should not be an excuse for us. I think one of the most important thing that we should be able to do as individuals is to keep writing these goals down. I have tons of notepads and notebooks that I write daily goals down and tasks that I would have got done, because I believe that writing one goals and setting those goals for the day helps you to program your mind. There are neural signals that is coming from your brains and it's extending to your wider body that basically sends a signal out into the universe that certainly helps you to hardwire those goals. And when you're serious about it, I believe you as an individual hardwiring those goals into your mind and writing them down basically have a deep neurological connection with your mind. And that is how many successful people would have traversed their path. So with that being said, if there is any question, I would like to hand over to the moderator so that the other presenter can get her time to also present.
Thank you so much, Samantha. Goal setting is always such a issue, so we definitely appreciate that because not many people like to do goals.
That's so true.
It's and again, you talked about the mindset behind that. So how can we get people for this to be more to write to be able to just have goals? Companies have goals. When they hire people, they have certain time frames of goals, and and if you're not producing and so forth. But for individuals, we seem to not do that. So we have no goals for the different areas. Health goals, no. Financial goals, barely. It's very low.
I think one of the things that should be introduced into our education system is goal settings at a very young age to our children, to our teenagers. So when we have goals, when one can set personal goals to them for themselves, they help to enhance the community. They help to enhance the people around them because they're more grounded and they're more rooted to their cause and the cause that is around them as well. Because take for example, the Sustainable Development Goals. We have 7 grand goals, and those are the global goals. Then you have countries that has to uphold these goals, and these goals are being filtered down right down to the grassroots. So you have the whole world and you have several regions. From those regions you have countries, from those countries you have communities, and so forth. And then it goes down to the individual level of how these things affect people and what are the target and charters that we need to work towards to improve those goals. So that there is a very prime example of how we as individuals certainly need to understand the importance of goals, because we have climate change that is in front of us. We have, with the pandemic, we have a lot more catastrophic event happening economically, socially, and health-wise as well. So we obviously need to become serious about our goals personally as well.
Thank you very much. Ikula, did you have any questions?
Not a question. However, it's a commendation. And I realize she would have said that we have to be smart when setting our goals. And from high school coming up, I would have understood that our goals, they must be first, they must be specific, they must be measurable, they must be attainable, they must be realistic, and they must have a time bound. So if we do that, as well as inject a sense of self-assessment, then and only then we can know who we are and know exactly what we can pour. Because the thing is, we cannot pour from an empty cup. So when you know what your opportunities are and your abilities are, then and only then you should be able to give of yourself. And she also said, we have to apply the knowledge that we would have received. And it's very important because we have to utilize the knowledge. Because if it is that we get the knowledge, but we don't apply the knowledge, that will lead to a level of frustration. So it basically says knowledge without application leads to frustration. And that will not enhance us as individuals at all. So that's my commendation. Perfectly put, Miss Samantha. And I also want to add, guys, if you have any questions, feel free to post them in the chat and we will answer them momentarily. Thank you so very much. That is a word from Madam Samantha.
Thank you so much. You know, we need to just get the students back, get ourselves back, because sometimes we as adults, we don't do it. And we do need to get back into setting goals for the different areas of our lives and just write it down, you know, from your health to family relationships, right? Maybe there's something going on with a family member that you need to straighten out, or a friend. Education goals, you know, where do you know, how far do you want to go? Or what do you want to do after school? After a certain grade, do you want college or do you want technical training? You know, you are the only one that can think about what it is you want from your life. And we're just here to kind of give you a little nudge to pull that out of you, to pull that greatness out of you, to say, and write it down. It's really good when you write things down and you just say, well, I want to be XYZ. So if money wasn't a problem, if money is an issue, and I say this even for adults, what would you want? What would you want for your life? Where would you want to go? Because the first thing that we always do is say, well, I would do such and such if I had the money. So allow yourself to dream a little bit and write some goals down. It may look foolish to others. You don't have to show it to anyone else. Show it to you. Where do you want to go? Where do you want to travel? What do you want to be? How far do you want to go in school? All of that. You need to I see a question. Maintain a balance between, I didn't get that. Ikula, did you get that?
Yes, I'm seeing it. It is from Gabriella. She's saying, my question regards maintaining a balance between all these goals. How would you recommend, I think, what can help one to balance all these different goals without it becoming overwhelming? So basically she's asking, how is it that an individual can balance these goals, perhaps if they have more than one, without they basically getting overwhelmed?
Okay, thank you for that question. So I would recommend that you manage your time and your resources and your energy. So whatever goal is that you're trying to achieve, for example, my health and my mental well-being, these are things that I take a lot of time doing. Like in the morning, I would do yoga and meditation. Um, you could still stay in bed and sleep at 5 and 6 in the morning, but I do that because I know that at that time of the day, my brain is starting to work and I need to flush all the things that I had from the day before and things that I'm not in control of, right? So that there acts as a filter to my mind. So I am going to manage my time. That's from 5 to 6. I will do this, right? And it does not go over any other time. And then from 6 to 7, I will take care of my meal or my meals for the day. So ensuring that I have time to prepare a nice healthy meal so that I can eat something fresh, something good as well. And then I will look at the tasks that I need to get done for the rest of the day. Balancing goals can be very challenging if you don't know to say no and you're always busy and you don't know to tone things down. You have to be very assertive exactly where you want to go and how you want to go there. And sometimes you have to say no to the people you love. And you have to choose you regardless of what is happening, because balancing comes with all of that. And I know we don't like to tell people no. We always like to be the people pleaser. And we obviously do not want to get into trouble with anybody, right? So thinking this or thinking that about us. But I want you to understand that balancing goals comes with a lot of courage, guts, and it comes with a lot of strength as well. So you have to keep your head on logically. Is this good for me? Is this right for me? Is this bringing value to me? What type of value is this bringing to me? How much energy do I need to use or utilize to get this done? Is this efficient? Is it good enough? When we're doing software development in OS operating system, one of the things is that for the operating system, it needs to manage the resources that is there. If it doesn't manage the resources, chances are the system can run corrupt. So if you're not managing your resources well, well, then you're going to run corrupt. You're going to have challenges. You're going to feel exhausted sometimes. You're not getting enough rest. That is a very bad thing. A lot of people say, as entrepreneurs, that, oh, you must hustle hard and sleep is for the weak. Research have shown that people who do not sleep a lot, they have short lifespan, and that is not healthy for entrepreneurs. Yes, we must go hard. Yes, we must work hard to achieve our goals, but we must do them smart. We must work smart and not hard. We gotta relieve ourselves from that slavery mentality of we must toil for things or we must work extremely hard, you know, and not smart. We got to stop giving to some of these mentality that seeks to imprison us, right?
Exactly.
So managing your goals, you need to manage your energy and your time and your resources well. Once you can do that, you will create balance, and then you will start to see the fruit of those balance.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Samantha. Thank you so much. Ikula will go into the next presenter. You're muted.
All right, not a problem. Thank you so very much, Miss Samantha. You literally blew my mind. And I am certain that this is a testament of the content you presented and the fact that you were able to give it with such practical examples that made the presentation more relatable. Thank you so very much. And I know that your kind words will linger with us for time to come. Thank you. All right, guys. So our second presenter she hails from St. Lucia, and her name is Alberta Richelieu. She's an attorney at law and an international trade specialist. She has a Bachelor's of Science in Economics and Law, as well as a Master of Science in International Trade Policy. She also pursued a graduate diploma in law and the Bar Professional Training course in the United Kingdom. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me make welcome Miss Alberta Richelieu.
Hi, thank you so much, Ikula. Thank you, Donna. I was getting quite nervous because you all took quite a bit of time to get to me, but nevertheless, I would continue with my presentation, and I'm very, very, very happy to be part.
You're muted, Alberta, accidentally.
Sorry?
You're muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So I was just saying I'm more than grateful to be part of this panel this evening. I was growing a little nervous, although I do this quite often, mainly because I was trying to figure out how on earth would I be able to supplement exactly what Samantha has said. Samantha and I have been friends for quite a bit of time. And of course, as you can see, her presentation was more than phenomenal. And likewise, I'm also an SDM ambassador with Samantha Sheoprashad. So when we speak about life goals, higher education, employment preparation, and business, these things are very much, we stick to the traditional sense. And what I would try to do is supplement what Samantha said and complement more or less what she said to include what we call soft skills. And how do we remain accountable to our goals to ensure that at the end of the 12 months, we do not fall by the wayside. And so I would start with goal setting. So one trick with goal setting is to constantly have meetings with yourself where you ensure that, okay, by the end of this month, this is what I am supposed to do. As Samantha had indicated, obviously your life is not just finance or it's not only about finance or the academics, but it also includes the social aspect of yourself, as well as the physical aspect of yourself. And so it's very important to break your goals down into these aspects. So that would be the physical aspect, the mental aspect, the social aspect. And of course, the social aspect is just as important as the financial and the educational aspect. So for example, if you have financial goals, so if you decide, okay, I'm going to save $1,000 by the end of the month, then that would mean at the end of 3 months, you're supposed to have $3,000. So obviously you also have quarterly meetings with yourself where you reassess your goals to ensure that you are in fact living up to what it is that you had to do. So that is one way to keep accountability. You have a monthly session with yourself, and then you have a quarterly session, and you continue as it goes, so that by the end of the 12 months, you would be in a position to at least assess whether or not you have in fact achieved all these goals that you have set for yourself. Notwithstanding what I have just explained earlier, how do we look at higher education? And I think it's important to look at the current economic landscape when we consider higher education. The reality of the situation is that higher education is no longer what we call traditional education, such as degrees. Higher education, especially in this information age, includes extensive reading, finding out what is new, what is now developing. So for example, we can see the rise in social media influencers, and that is in fact becoming a form of income, and it provides income to many persons, and that includes people like myself who may be attorneys, people who may be well qualified, and in fact they might make even more money from being social media influencers, from being videographers, because we are living in an international economic village, and that is the reality of the current economic landscape. And even more so with COVID, what we would find is in the next few years, a lot of people would be working remotely. Already it has been happening with COVID, and more or less it will continue as time passes by. So we have to keep abreast and be aware of what the current economic landscape is, in terms of deciding on a way forward. So ladies, when you think about higher education, don't just think about the stereotypical traditional education, like becoming a doctor or becoming a lawyer. Think about how the world is changing and how you can add to that change. There are a lot of people who have been doctors and they're starting businesses from the ground up. There are lots of people who are now developing apps. And so these are the things that we need to look into and not just keep to the traditional education. We need to move with the times. So when I speak about, I notice it's life goals, higher education. So I've spoken about higher education. Let's now look at employment preparation. When we think about employment preparation, a lot of people think about how do I qualify for this job? But a lot of people don't consider what soft skills do I need to develop so that I can remain in this job and actually be happy in this job. And that includes, how do you behave around people? How do you relate to people? What do you say to people? Whether or not you're influential, whether you add any form of life meaning to the workplace. And that is in fact very much important. More often than not, a lot of people become employed, not from them simply sending in an application, but they become employed from meeting someone who's quite impressed with the soft skills that they have provided. So these are things that we need to consider, particularly when thinking about how do we prepare for future employment. And when we think about future employment, let's think beyond just getting jobs. Let's think about how we can become entrepreneurs, how we can become business owners, and what we can do to really adapt to this current economic landscape, like I said, and the changes that are happening so rapidly and exponentially in this global village. I would move on to business. I don't want to make it too long because I like to keep the attention of the audience. But in terms of business, we have to think of what else is it that I possess that is unique to me that I can bring to the table. And like I said earlier, that includes soft skills. That includes reading and relating to somebody else, because more often than not, you would be surprised how often it might be a simple book that you may have read that will make you relatable to somebody else who might be from a totally different culture. Find out what books are popular, what books are most often read, books that are on the New York Times bestsellers list and that sort of thing. And these are the books that sometimes would engage you in conversations with persons who may be of a totally different race, nationality, ethnic background, and you would be able to relate to them in such a way, and you might be surprised how it can add to your business, your life, your higher education, your employment, your soft skills. So I think more or less I am trying to complement what Samantha said. I don't want to go too much in detail because I know it's important that we keep to the time, and not just the time, but what's important. And of course, like I said, what's important is looking at this current economic landscape. I cannot stress it enough. What is the future of work? How would work look like? Because we're seeing a lot of people are now working remotely, which would give a lot of people the opportunity to work in places where in fact they could not have imagined. So some people are working in Hawaii and actually working for another company in Hong Kong. And these are the realities and the possibilities now with technology and with our current economic landscape. And these are the things that we need to consider. So yeah, I think it's important that we look at our life goals, but we look at our life goals in a broad sense, and we look at our life goals in context of our current economic landscape, how our parents probably grew up and what their goals were and what the possibilities were for them is totally different from us, and we have to bear that in mind. So yeah, this is all for me really. Consider your higher education, employment preparation, and business in the greater scheme of things, and not just in the stereotypical traditional scheme of things. Ikula and Donna, I think that would be all for me.
Thank you so much. You know, an attorney, short and sweet to the point. You know, Alberta, you said a lot because we are living in different times, and yeah, people. I'm in Florida, and we see so many people transitioning from the different parts of the country to come here because Florida is usually that retirement state, and now they're able to work from home and work here, and so it is bringing like a new outlook, a new level of opportunities, and so yeah, we can't just even be in that box anymore, that traditional box. So you know the thing is preparing, and I think some of us are caught off guard. Some of us are still trying to figure this out, where the world is going, and it seems like obviously technology is definitely a key, and the big businesses, they're noticing and they're realizing that, hey, I don't even need that brick and mortar like before. So it's amazing to watch this, and what's unfolding, not just for our children and the youth, but for us to see what's happening. And look at this communication. I was talking with Azula Akula earlier, and we were saying, and I was also talking to some of our guests from last night. Look at how Zoom has made it possible for us to just connect. We would have had to rent a hall somewhere in one of the countries and pay this enormous price and food and all of that. But look how the the positive, because in anything that's negative, you got to be able to take the positive out of it. You have to get some kind of a lesson. And look how we're able to just get on. Look, we have people on right now from Tanzania, from Gambia, from the Caribbean, from the US, from Canada, UK. We're able to just connect. And so we are looking at different times and how caught up, but we don't want some youth to be left behind, because this like made a turn, and some of them are probably wondering like what kind of career path now that things have shifted, ideas for career path and so forth. I know it's important. We try to tell our youth finding the purpose. We discussed that last night. Finding purpose, kind of, let your gut. Don't just go for the dollars. Don't just research and say, oh, this is six figures, so I'm going to go for it. Because you may be, very unhappy. But what kind of tips can you give, young people right now seeing this situation, not knowing what to do, where to go, want to have a sustainable life, any direction?
Yes. So it's very important that you look at where you are and where it is that you want to go, but more so what your passion is. And I think sometimes we are sort of forced into a particular profession without realizing that it might not necessarily be the best place for us. I believe at this point in time, people are more or less their own content creators. And because of that, you can create content that will be unique to you. So for example, if you love cooking, you can become a videographer on Instagram. if you love traveling, you can start your vlogs with YouTube. If you love perhaps modeling, you can start off on Instagram and grow your following. So I think there's more room for doing what it is that you truly love in light of this technological age, as opposed to what it was before. And because of that, it's
I'm
not
sorry,
like
Alberta, but it seems like the weirdest thing, like your camera is off. We're streaming on Facebook and it's showing that you're not on, but we're seeing you. So talking about technology. There you go.
Okay. Sorry, I was trying to not disturb because I was on both of my devices. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, so as I said, were you able to hear me earlier, Donna?
Yes, we started hearing you, but no one on Facebook heard you.
Okay, so what I was saying is that we are our own content creators with Instagram and YouTube and everything. So for example, if you're in love with cooking, nothing precludes you from starting your own cooking vlog. If you're into modeling, I mean, it provides you with a platform where you can create your own and use it to your benefit. So I think now there's more room for flexibility and remoteness. Remoteness in terms of working. So like you said, there's no longer the traditional brick and mortar. And then the question therefore would be, what does that now mean, for example, to people who would be renting commercial spaces? How do they move forward from there? You know, what does that mean for people who probably rely on a certain source of income, or for example, like a HR manager? What does it mean to you? How would you be able to manage your team now that a lot of people are working remotely? So the point I'm trying to make is to understand where you are, what it is that you're like, what is it that you actually like, what it is that you actually love, and how you can move forward from there. And of course, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all these things have made things possible. A lot of people have been discovered on YouTube. A lot of people are being discovered on Instagram. You know, island girls like me who probably didn't have a platform before we have a platform, you know? So these are the opportunities that technology is presenting. And therefore, when we speak about higher education and employment, we have to go beyond, like I said, the traditional, you know, I want to become a lawyer, I want to sit down in the office. There are lawyers now who becoming Zumba instructors in Hawaii, you know, from their home. So there's so many possibilities. And because of that, we shouldn't limit ourselves. We should allow ourselves to be us, and we should allow ourselves to take pleasure in what we really love. So I hope that answers your question, Donna.
Yes, I think sometimes, you know, parents direct the youth, and we kind of tell them what we want them to be. Really, it's all about what we want them. I want you to be, because it sounds good, it looks good, it's very significant, it makes our family and friends look good. Boy, your daughter or son is a lawyer, a doctor, right? And so that child and that youth, they do it, and then they're not happy, they're stressed out. And that's why right now, when the opportunity, you know, exists, they're being that Zumba instructor, because all that time they didn't want to be an attorney or a doctor or whatever. They were just doing it for family, you know. So it's important. We talked about last night, purpose is, it's very, very important, because you will end up really just racking up student debt, wasted time. So tap into your purpose a little bit, like our presenters said last night, to find out which route, that employment, because you're this is for the rest of your life, or a major part of your life. So we implore for you to take the time, find out what makes your heart flutter. You know, whether it's service, like you said, dancing, cooking, tree planting, whatever it is, try to get in. This is a time for us to shake things up. We do not have to go with the status quo. This is now, anything goes. You can be, you know, whatever you want to be, but you've got to have that mind, because if you don't, then everybody's going to just direct you, and you're going to just be directed into a place that you do not want to be, and you become unhappy and resentful, in all of that. So find that place, tap into your me time, find out who you are, and ask the creator, who am I? Why am I here? How can I serve? What am I supposed to be doing? You have a lot of questions, and sometimes family members don't have that, right? Sometimes our family members do not. Many times them have questions too. So as a young person, a youth or young adult or even an older person, even our age, my age, I still ask questions for directions because we are in a different time, and it's important for you to find that purpose and be happy with where you're going. But write down your goals, do your 1 month, like the presenters say, your 6 months, maybe your 1 year, and there's different levels. Personal goal, relationship goals, right? Education goals, health. How fit do you want to be? Do you want to lose some weight or gain some weight or gain some muscles? Do you want to maybe go vegan or just vegetarian? Whatever it is, this is your life. You only have one shot at it. One shot. So, but you need to show up, you need to participate in your life. Right? You need to show up and show out. And like I said last night, plot goodness for your life. If you don't plot it, somebody else is going to plot it for you. So you do need to show up and participate. And I say we have to stop doing the genie. We sometimes use God as a genie in the bottle. We don't want to do any work. We don't want to do the goals. We don't want to do the steps, but we just want to pray and say, God, just make it. I want to be rich. I want to have this house. I want to have all this, this job. I want to go do the training. You don't want to show up for the interview. All these things, and it's a mind, body, and soul combination. Like we talked about the key. If there's a combination to life and you only have two of the codes, you need all three. You need to get mentally aware and elevated. You get to get spiritually elevated, and you got to have the physical part. You got to get in the game. So hopefully that you learn something today that you can take and just build your life and fight for your life, because we are all in different times and all of us are trying to figure out what to do and where to go next. So you have to plot. This is serious now. You can't just wonder and watch everybody else's reality show. You must get in the game and direct your reality show. You're watching everybody else's TikTok and Instagram for hours, right? That's all they do. And then what about your life? And then you're upset when you see the young person and the other person, boy, she keeps getting ahead, he keeps getting ahead. What are they doing? They're writing down their goals. They're writing down what they want for their life. And they're taking the small steps, and they're doing their affirmations, they're doing their praying, they're doing their mental work, they're keeping their mental health in a good place. So all of this, mind, body, and soul. Mind, mental chatter, mindset, affirmations, spiritual, connecting with God, physical, do the steps. You can't learn a new language if you learn the language of negativity, which is like learning, like you grew up learning English. We cannot now want to be successful. We have to do the work. We have to do the physical, the work, the mental work to retrain our minds, the spiritual work to ask God for guidance. And we have to do the steps that it says to doing the affirmations, doing the encouragement. So it's a mind, body, and soul relationship. If you sow mangoes, can you pray to God to give you pineapple? So we need to stop it. We need to stop this thing where we're asking God for success, but we're planting lack, we're planting poverty, we're planting fear, low confidence, all these things. It doesn't, it's laws that we just need to understand a little better, and we need to stop it. Okay? So if you want goodness, you have to plant goodness seeds. Unless if you don't plant the goodness seeds, your garden is going to get all full of weeds and all kind of things like that, right? So you have to get involved. You have to show up, and you have to plot goodness for your life. And we're all in this together. Any last words, Ikula?
Yes, I would like to. I am getting a feedback. Are you hearing me clearly?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yes, so I would like to add to what you would have said earlier, and also Lord Miss Richelieu, because she said it is very important that we have quarterly meetings with ourselves. And if we are not having quarterly meetings, ensure that we're having them weekly. But it is also absolutely necessary that we have an annual plan. We have to write down our goals, because this will hold us accountable. And when we recognize that we are not doing what is expected, then it will spur the need to adjust. I admit we are humanly imperfect. And I believe the word of God in James chapter 4 says, you have not because you ask not. So when you ask the Lord for added assistance and strength and for abilities, it is vested in you to action the things that you would have asked for. It is absolutely pointless for him to give you that portion of blessing and you basically put it aside because you want to nurture it, but not apply yourself in the manifestation. We have to get to the stage where we are veered into a perspective where there is not a lane. Sometimes we are the ones who must create the lanes, and then others will follow. As she rightfully said, we have to challenge the stereotypes. We have to challenge the stereotypes, because I know all of us, we have multifaceted potentials. Perhaps Miss Morton Morgan, you can shine as you are because you would have garnered quite a number of experiences. But for example, for me, I may not be able to execute a project or survey a land as you would have. But the reality is, whatever I am doing, I must recognize that it is in me. I should be intrinsically motivated to get the job done. I and all of us need to reach to the stage where we understand that we are singularly the most effective person to get the job done. And that is where we must advance the conversation. So, Miss Alberta Richelieu, I want to say graciously, thank you for the content that you would have shared with us. And also our first presenter, Miss Samantha Sheoprashad, I want to also express greatest thanks to you and to the management of the Women of Culture Incorporate and the global partners. I thank you for the invitation, and I am looking forward to hearing great stuff, and I'm also looking forward to work with you as we seek to advance the welfare of our young people and by extension, the world. Thank you. Thank you everyone for joining us tonight, and it is now back over to you, Mrs. Morgan.
Thank you, Mrs. Morgan. Thank you, Mr. Pearce. It was fantastic. Keep on doing what you're doing. This is a fantastic summit, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you so much. We're gonna just, if anyone, whether you're a presenter or not, if you have a quick comment that you would like to share before we say our thank yous and share our last video, please unmute.
I would like to say thank you to the Vice Mayor of Miami Beach who is with us tonight via Facebook. That's it.
Oh,
Vice Mayor Paul Villard.
Thank you so much. Anyone else? We know we have some guests from around the world.
Thank you so much for those amazing presentation. They truly highlighted a lot of the terms that a lot of persons are shying away from. Change is constant, and I truly believe in the words of Dr. Miles Monroe that anything that is alive will change. It is just the breath that is of life, and even things that are not living will change, like a river flowing through a mountain. You know, if you go back 10 years, the mountain may look different, the river may look different. And I just thank you, especially to our Caribbean sisters that have just passionately presented, and the content is something for us to really reflect upon, and not just become motivated, but change, 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 so that we can succeed in this new environment that we are being placed in, some voluntarily, some involuntarily. So thank you again. And this summit really, really appreciate the initiative to have it done.
Thank you so much, Sky.
We have a brother from Gambia as well. I cannot say the name because the name is difficult, unless you want to say something himself.
Please do.
The brother from Gambia, yes.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, team called Women Culture, for the invitation. I think the summit is really worth it. Yesterday I could not follow due to network problem in the Gambia, but today I've learned a lot. It's really worth, thanks to the presenters and the moderators and all participants. I think I quite agree with the board presenters. Most especially in Africa, what disturbs us a lot is we don't set personal goals. We just go to school because maybe our friends or our colleagues also attend the same school. We want to be in an environment to do work or to work there. Just that seeing someone is working there, wearing nice dress or so on. So, but personal development or career development, we don't focus it. We don't own it personally. It dictates, and people dictate you to be something else, which today I have learned a lot, that not only setting goals for the companies as we meet weekly and then quarterly, monthly, annually to review our performance, but we really need to have constant meeting with yourself. Today I have learned that not only weekly as the presenters recommend, but for me, I think we need to look at it daily before closing at work, have a meeting with yourself. Did you achieve your personal goals and so on? Thank you so much for the opportunity. It's really amazing, and I've learned. Thanks.
Thank you so much, all the way from Gambia. We really appreciate it. We know it's probably around 3 a.m. in the morning or something like that. So thank you so much. Samantha, I know that some of your, most of your presentation, we had a little, again, technology, the bandwidth was a little low, but we heard you clearly. So does anyone want to say any last words? Feel free. Floor is open. All right, no one is commenting. Samantha, do you want to say a last comment?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you very much to your team and the people around you who would have put together this program with the intentions of bringing youths together and providing them with valuable information so that they can be, better able to make better decisions and be better citizens of their country. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll just share just a few seconds and then we'll go into our video as we end so that we can say a special thank you. So I just want to say, let me try to. Women of Culture is a global women empowerment, youth mentorship, and community outreach. We're an NGO based in Florida. Together with our global ambassadors and partners, we strive to empower families, improve poverty conditions, socioeconomic status, good health and well-being, gender equality, and climate change awareness for a sustainable world. Our global outreach ambassadors are located in the following countries: Bahamas, Bermuda, France, Germany, Guadeloupe, Haiti, Jamaica, Puerto Rico, St. Croix, Tanzania, Trinidad and Tobago, Uganda, and the United States. We love outreach. We want to thank our partners: Caribbean American Diaspora Alliance, CARICOM, Bahamas, Bermuda, Dominica, Grenada, Guyana, Haiti, Jamaica. We've got several team partners in Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago, St. Lucia. So, when you see us and you see this, it's a lot. It's not just me, it's teamwork. Just to tell you a little snippet about me, my name is Donna Morton Morgan, and I am the CEO of Women of Culture Incorporated. I'm a mindset mentor, self-empowerment coach, and a Florida real estate broker. All my handles are at Women of Culture Inc. on Facebook and IG. Inner Vibes Consultant, Facebook, Florida Summer Homes at Facebook, and also Caribbean American Diaspora. I just want to encourage you guys to come on for tomorrow. Tomorrow night, we will be talking about protecting emotional health and wellness. We'll have two awesome presenters. And then actually on Thursday night, we will wrap it up with our human rights and cyber security awareness for the youth. You guys spend a lot of time on social media, on Instagram and all these places. There's a lot of activity for human trafficking that you may not be aware. You're just having fun as a young person, but you must be careful. And so we want to just get a message from
all of you leaving here have the potential for enormous success. There's a price that comes with that. First and foremost, knowing who you are. Knowing who you are. Being able to answer this question: who am I? And what do I want? I'm asking the bigger question of who am I? Who am I really? And what do I want? I don't want to just be successful in the world. I don't want to just make a mark or have a legacy. The answer to that question for me is I want to fulfill the highest, truest expression of myself as a human being. You must have some kind of vision for your life. Even if you don't know the plan, you have to have a direction in which you choose to go. You want to be in the driver's seat of your own life, because if you're not, life will drive you. Knowing who you really are in this space and time that we embody. You must find a way to serve. Martin Luther King said that not everybody can be famous, but everybody can be great, because greatness is determined by service. Now, we live in a world where everybody wants to be famous and where we admire people for just being famous. We think being known brings us value. The truth is, all of that will fade in time. In 3 years, you won't be able to name the housewives of Atlanta. The real truth is that service and significance, service and the significance that you bring to your service is that which is lasting. When you shift the paradigm of whatever it is you choose to do to service and you bring significance to that, success will, I promise you, follow you. Service and significance equals success. Here's the key: learn from every mistake, because every experience, encounter, and particularly your mistakes are there to teach you and force you into being more of who you are. And then figure out what is the next right move. What is your true calling? What is your dharma? What is your purpose? All of you leaving here have the potential for enormous success. There's a price that comes with that. People don't always like you, and they're not always happy for you. And if you surround yourself with people who are not accustomed to your success, they become fearful, they become scared, because you are reflecting back something to them that they don't recognize. People who want the best for you want you to be your best. So my greatest advice to you is to surround yourself with people who are going to fill your cup until your cup runneth over. And what I know for sure is that the biggest choices begin and end with you, your internal big questions. Who do I want to be in the world? Be excellent. People notice. Let excellence be your brand. Everybody talks about building a brand. I never even knew what that was. When people say, you're a brand, I would say, no, I'm just Oprah. What I recognize now is that my choice to, in every way, in every example, in every experience, to do the right thing and the excellent thing is what has created the brand.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us tonight. This was indeed, I hope that you young people take some of the information and think about it. Understand that you got to show up in your life. No one can do it. We can't, mommy and daddy can't show up, and auntie can't show up for you. You've got to show up mentally, spiritually, and physically. Okay? It's not about rubbing the genie in the bottle, and just, no, you got to do all three things. Mentally, even though that we can't change the past. We all probably grew up in a lot of negativity. No fault of our own, of our families, right? Mom and dad, and what they learned. But we can do something to change today. So don't go and blame and say, I'm not successful because of all the stuff that I learned in this house. We don't want you to go back and do that. We want for you to understand that what your parents, what your household fed you, they were fed. But now it's for you to do the work, like your phone and your computer. You got to upgrade the mentality, upgrade the talk about yourself, I say be your first best friend. Encourage yourself. You may be right now in a household where everybody's negative and nobody's going to clap for you. Nobody's going to be your cheerleader. Nobody's going to say, I love you, or I care about you, or you're doing awesome. You may be just, but you can still have a successful life because you say it for yourself. You find the time throughout the day. Not one time a day doesn't cut it. Remember, you're learning a new language. So repetition is how we learn. And if you learn negativity and you want to be positive, you want to successful now, you got to recognize it's not the devil blocking you. It's you blocking you. We use that too much. Oh, the devil is no, it's you. It's your mindset. It's your negative mindset. It's how you think about yourself. Our first enemy is always us right here. So know that. And then go to work on improving yourself. Every day you're getting better. Every day I'm getting better. Look at yourself in the mirror. Look in your eyes and tell yourself and call your name and tell yourself how wonderful you are, how beautiful and how smart, how strong you are. Do that throughout the day whenever you get a break. Just tell yourself, I'm so proud of you. I still say that every day. I'm so proud of you, Donna. I'm so proud of what you're doing. I'm so proud of how you're helping others. I'm so proud of your awareness, your consciousness. You have to be your first best friend. Your mom and dad, they don't have time. Nobody have time to be encouraging you all the time. People, they have their own problems. So you have to learn how to do it. And when you start doing that, you start building your confidence, your self-confidence, your self-love, your self-respect. All of those things will rise. It takes time, but it will rise. So you have to be a warrior for your life. You have to purposely plot goodness. Purposely plot goodness. Say yes to success. Say yes to health and wealth and love and peace, but not just for yourself, but for your community, for your family, because they may not know. And as Oprah say, as you people see you begin to rise and speak differently and act differently and receive differently, you're gonna get backlash. They're gonna think, oh, you this and that, oh, you're enough. You're gonna get a lot of that. Ignore it because you know the work that you're putting in, and that's all. You know the connection that you're building with God, and that's the importance. Someone asked yesterday that God is the foundation for everything that you do, and we want to be clear. But we want you to know that you need to do physical things and you need to do mental things. And that's why we give the example. If you learned English and now you're 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 even for some of that's on, and you want to speak a new language, you cannot do it by just praying over it. You must do the physical laws. You must respect the laws on this earth and do what's needed for you to learn the new language. You cannot pray it away. So we need to understand that. And so many teens are frustrated, adults are frustrated because of that. It's a teamwork. God needs you here to do his work. So you've got to be mentally, we're told in the Bible, as a man thinketh. If you fear, negative things will come to you. So you have to work on your vibes, work on your confidence, work on your awareness, and know who and whose you are. You are seeds of greatness. You are seeds of greatness. You have a gift that God planted in you. You just got to tap into it. And that's what we're here for, to just help you tap into it and understand how awesome you are and start speaking life over your life. Even if no one else in your household is doing it, you do it and we'll help you. And we're here. You can find me on Facebook. Someone asked about Facebook. Women of Culture INC. There are several Women of Culture on Facebook. So it's Women of Culture INC, and it's Culture with a K, or Inner Vibes with a Z Consultant. or you can always email me because I emailed everyone that's on. So email me if you want to talk, you want to get some direction. I think we said enough for tonight. Thank you so much, Gabriella. Everyone that's on, thank you so much to our partners, our presenters, our speakers, all professionals taking their time out. Our moderator from Jamaica tonight, big ups. Thank you all. And thank you for joining with me to empower our youth. And this is not a Caribbean thing anymore. This is now a global empowerment, and they are our future, and we need to fight for them, and we need to tell them the truth. We need to tell them that there is systemic things in place to keep them oppressed, because we've experienced it. So we need to properly equip them and quit just telling them that there's they do the genie in the bottle. They have to do the spiritual, mental, and physical aspect. If you have 2 out of 3 codes, you will not unlock it. You need to have the 3 codes. So connect with your God, connect with your creator, connect with your life coach. That is, God is your ultimate life coach. Ultimate life coach. Be quiet, be still, listen, feel his goodness, ask for direction, ask who you are, what are you here for? You will get the answers, but you have to be still. Take time and plot your goodness. Good night.
Good night, everyone.